We came up with a graphic showing our individual top tens of writing influences, and I'm shocked by your list, and I'm about to get to it, but I want to read off my list first. And this is just my top 10. Mike Royko, the GOAT, great newspaper columnist, the greatest newspaper columnist of all time, out of Chicago. I started reading him when I was a little kid, and as soon as I switched my major to journalism, I was like, I want to be like Mike, and not Mike Jordan. I wanted to be like Mike Royko. The second person is Ralph Wiley. Ralph, dear friend of mine and mentor, he passed away 14 years ago, I think, maybe 17 years ago, 2004, maybe. Dear friend of mine, great influence on me, mentor. Discovered him when I was in college. I think he was on the Phil Donahue show. David Simon, the creator of The Wire, huge influence on me, the show The Wire, you've heard me talk about. And then Michelle Alexander. I'm only going to talk about my top four because people sometimes get emails from me and it ends with, it's my name and then it's RWSA. And people get these, what's the RWSA stand for? Royko, Wiley, Simon, Alexander. Those are my Mount Rushmore of writing influences. Michelle Alexander wrote the book, The New Jim Crow, spoke to my family history, and just, it's one of the most powerful books I've ever read. I don't even agree with all of it, but it's just an amazing, powerful book, had an incredible impact on me. Royko, Wiley, Simon, and Alexander, that's my Mount Rushmore. And then I look over at your list, and Royko, of course, is number one. I've known that about you forever. But who is Ted Couch? If that's your dad, I'm going to kick you off the show.
Oh, then it must not be my dad. Hey, my dad was a writer, a speech writer. And, he taught me about the craft of writing and the love of writing. So that is my dad. But don't kick me off the show.
How can your dad be number 5? If my dad was a writer, he'd be number 1.
Well, we're talking about writing, and he's a great writer. But, if we're talking about influencing in my life, he moves up the list several spots, probably number 1.
All right. And so Greg has Mike Royko, Kurt Vonnegut, Bernie Lincecum, Ernest Hemingway, Ted Couch, number 5. And then I stopped at number 6, Richard Wright, the great communist Richard Wright, who wrote the book Black Boy. I'm very well aware of Richard Wright's work. Him on your list kind of surprised me. You a communist sympathizer, Greg?
I'm a Native Son fan, right? He starts with that book where he's talking about the rat, and he's connecting it to those kids in Chicago and what those kids feel like, a rat living in the house and being chased around. It was a beautiful imagery, and it really taught me all about metaphors and similes. And again, I'm not talking about his political beliefs. I'm talking about his writing and what I was motivated by, inspired by.
Did you know that Richard Wright was a communist, Greg? I'm gonna go Joseph McCarthy on you here. How long have you been associating with communists? Please explain.
I'm going to be honest with you. I remember it from before, but you jogged my memory of it right now. I forgot until you just said that. So I don't think I'm associating with communists, but you never know. I don't usually go around asking people what their political beliefs are.
Let me give you another name I don't recognize on here, and I may get trashed for this. Because maybe he's so famous I look stupid. Who's Tim O'Brien?
Well, he wrote some books about Vietnam, and he wrote a book called The Things They Carried, and it's just an unbelievable start to that book where he says they're fiction, but I think they're nonfiction. They're from his experience, and it's just the detail that he puts into this writing, especially the first chapter of The Things They Carried. He's just, he sort of explains to you, he paints a big picture with details only. And, I think of writing, really, it's a crime that I don't have my wife, Lisa, who's a writing instructor in a college, on that list. But she always talks about writing as diving into the details and then climbing to the big picture and diving into. That guy dove into the details and used the details to show the big picture. That was just an amazing thing. And by the way, your writing, you're probably the best climbing to the big picture person I've ever seen.